Hi crafters, Amy here, and today I have a cute little critter card featuring some adorable products from My Favorite Things. This is the Missing You Every Single Day stamp set. I have been wanting this stamp set for a while, and I finally pulled the trigger and put it in my last order. So I'm just gonna stamp it out here. I have my Rabbit Hole Designs static tool because I'm going to emboss this. I should have actually done it after I, lifted up the stamps, but I'm backwards. What can you say, right? So I just pulled these up with my Misty Door and then laid down the anti-static tool. I'm just going to heat emboss it with clear embossing powder because that is a black pigment ink and it takes a long time to dry, but I also know that I'm going to color it in with a watercolor-ish type medium, so it gives you those little wells to fill it in. And I did the same thing and rotated the paper and stamped on the other side. And here I'm showing you my Karen brush markers. I just got this little 12 pack for my birthday, and I'm having fun playing with them, and I'm working on some Strathmore Bristol Smooth paper just because I find that really easy to kind of pull out the pigment. So I'm just starting off this first little batch of 4. I do kind of more traditional colors, and then when I flip it over I color with some of the brighter colors from the pack. So this particular 12 pack is basically just rainbow colors plus brown and black, and I did do a different little intro video where I played with these for the first time and I swatched them out and just basically watercolored some little florals just for fun to play with them. So if you want to check that video out, I'll put that in the top right corner. But basically with the wells that I created with that clear heat embossing, it kind of helps me move pretty quickly and keep the water and the pigment where I want it. So I'm kind of just laying down the pigment on one side, kind of like a shadow, and then just pulling it out. I'm actually using some of the extra black from the bunny over onto the bear because it was quite dark. Doing a little orange tabby cat. I think that's what they're called. I'm not sure. I'm fascinated by cats, y'all, but I'm allergic to them. So is my husband. So I've never actually owned a cat, but I do watch a lot of cat videos because, like I said, I'm fascinated, and they're crazy and unpredictable, and I find them very amusing. So I'm a cat video watcher, folks. I'll admit it. But anyway, I'm just coloring in these little critters, and I'm using an Arteza water brush to kind of pull out that pigment, and pulling in different colors for the little details. Used the pink on the little inner ears and things like that, but I didn't want to do direct to paper with the pink because it was so bright. So I did scribble a little bit on my acrylic block and then saturated it with some water. This is kind of my go-to color technique. I do the same thing with my Arteza Real Brush pens. I do also have a video about that where I explain more in depth how I color with these type of watercolor markers. So if you're interested in that video, I'll also link that in the top right corner. But I kind of messed up here. I went outside the little nose line, so I'm just desaturating it further with the water brush pen and kind of using some paper towel to sop up my mistakes. So I find markers like this to be very forgiving. You can kind of go back and fix your mistakes. So here I'm going a little whimsical and doing, bright colors. Obviously not real colors, but I find these more fun, especially with these cute little critters. And these are the ones that I'll end up using. Stick around on the video and you'll see me actually turn this into a finished card. But I'm having fun playing with these new markers. They are comparable to Arteza Real Brush pens, but I will say, like I mentioned in my other video, that they're definitely more pigmented and more saturated in color. So depending on what you're going for, this may be a good product for you. And I will link all the products that I used in the video description box below. If you expand that and scroll down, you'll find links and all the information there. But I'm just working my way through these 4 cute little critters, kind of filling in the details and pulling out the color. And I do end up fussy cutting them out. I left the more traditional colored ones for future cards, but I don't know if there's coordinating dies for these or not, honestly. I didn't check. But I did fussy cut these out. And I also have a new background stamp that I got on this order. This one was on sale, so, you know, this girl can't resist a deal. But it's a triangle background stamp, and I just thought it was cute. So I used that with some Distress Oxide colors that I felt were comparable to the marker colors that I chose to color in the little critters. So kind of doing the little trick where you do some temporary adhesive on the back of the card base and then flip over your Misty backwards just to kind of make sure it stays in the exact spot that you want. And this is because I want that background stamp to provide, you know, coverage over the entire card base. So I have Twisted Citron, Picked Raspberry, and Peacock Feathers. I felt that those were comparable. So I'm just kind of laying down that color on the background stamp and then put all those cute little triangles all over the card base. And this is a pretty flat card. I do add a little bit of dimension with the critters and whatnot, but overall, because I'm working directly on the card base, there's not a whole lot of bulk. So just put this little variation in color on the background just to add some interest. And kind of blend them together where the blue meets the pink. It creates a nice purple, which is, you know, obviously one of the colors that I used. So I'm using one of those adhesive erasers to get that little temporary adhesive off the back. And I wanted to create a little sentiment strip that matched the, you know, the background. So I'm not doing even coverage here. It kind of looked spotty, but I actually liked that it looked a bit distressed, so I left it. This is just a little die cut that I had on my desk, and it was the perfect length to go with the Missing You stamp from the stamp set. So I'm just going to use that same black rich pigment ink just to stamp that sentiment. It's nice and clear. It works really well for little detailed sentiment stamps. So just using acrylic block and stamping that directly in the middle of that little sentiment strip. And then I know that I'm going to pop the little critters on top of that. So I am such a sucker for these little peekaboo critters. I know Avery L has a ton of them. I have a bunch in my crafty stash. I don't know what it is about them. I just think they are so stinking cute. Just to put them, you know, on the bottom of the inside of your card, or on top of a little sentiment strip, or on top of like a little die cut alphabet letter or something. I mean, they're just, I can't resist. They're too cute. That's why I said I've been wanting this stamp set for a long time, and I finally pulled the trigger. But they are a little tiny. They're smaller than I thought. You know, I could, of course, you know, read the description of the product and know that it is actually only like a 3x4 stamp set, and then I would have deduced that they're pretty tiny. But I don't care. I think they're adorable, and they weren't too hard to fussy cut out. I don't mind fussy cutting. I know some of y'all hate it, but I find it quite therapeutic. So I'm just using a Doris foam strip just to kind of pop up that little sentiment strip, and I did stamp one of the sentiments as well and put the other little critter in the inside of the card, just to kind of bring something fun into the inside. And I lay this down after I get rid of some, you know, fingerprints or whatever I just smeared all over the front of it with my sand eraser. So I put that down straight and use some little foam squares just to kind of pop up the little critters and kind of nestle the neck part underneath that sentiment strip. So just using 3, a nice odd number. It's visually pleasing to the eye. And remove these little backers and stick them down. And then I just use some liquid glue to glue that little green bunny on the inside. And there's not a sentiment strip on the inside. It's just stamped, but I thought it still looked cute. Just kind of gluing it right down on top of it. Give you a nice little surprise on the inside of the card. Just trimming it up to make it look a little bit neater before I glue it down. So it says every single day. So I'm missing you every single day. Isn't this such a cute stamp set, especially in this time of distance, maybe when we can't see our loved ones as much as we would like. Thought this was adorable. And then I used a corner chomper just to kind of round off a couple of the edges, just to give it a little bit more interest, and that's it. I hope you like my card today. I will link the products used in the video description box below. So if you enjoyed my video, please hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. If you hit the bell, then you'll be notified anytime I post a new video. So I really appreciate you watching. I read all your comments. I love hearing from you. So I hope to see you next time. Thanks again. Bye.